Welcome to today's episode of the Everyday Leader podcast. I'm excited today to bring you a conversation with myself and Jason Payne. Jason Payne is the owner of State 48 Roofing. He talks about his experience in building and growing the business, all of the different roles he's had in his roofing journey and business journey. And he's also a husband, a father, and a man of God. Excited to share his lessons of leadership that he's learned across the way in building a successful business.
Welcome to the Everyday Leader podcast. Leadership is a choice. Join me, Matt, and my co-hosts Drew and Tate each episode as we break down how to lead powerfully in your family, team, and organization.
Welcome to today's episode of the Everyday Leader podcast. Today, it's just me, Drew Norton. I'm super excited. I've got Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing. He's built an incredible business and super excited to dive into lessons of leadership he's learned along the way. Thanks for joining us today, Jason.
Dude, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
What's that? Oh, yeah, let's roll.
Let's roll, baby.
Yeah, Jason, I met Jason this last year. He's good friends with a common friend of ours, Josh Tilley, the coach's coach. He's been on our podcast before too, and really loved how you poured in and supported what he was doing with your business and supporting the youth. And then I've loved going to some of your events and what you're doing to really help other business owners grow and develop. And you want to share with our listener a little bit about you and your story, your business?
Yeah. So born and raised right here in Gilbert, and you know what? Just grew up in the alfalfa dairy part of Gilbert back in the day in the 90s, and went to Gilbert High. And like I said, Josh and many others, go Tigers, 05. But sorry, the word abandoned came out just now. Anyways, it's a different inside joke. We'll tell that one later. So funny. But yeah, no, just LDS, went to high school, went to college for a year up at EA, where you guys are, Gila Valley.
Yeah.
And then went on my mission, went to Mexico City. So I knew Spanish and I had a clean driver's license and good work ethic, and came back and I started doing landscaping, $12.50 an hour, going to school. I did like a semester and a half at Chandler Gilbert, and I was like, this is dumb. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, what am I doing here? There's no way this is how you make money. And so I went to working full time, and left landscaping to go work for my uncle for $14 an hour. So I was like,
First page up.
First one to speak loses, right? And he's like, hey, what are you making right now? I'm like, $12.50. He's like, we'll pay you $14 an hour. No joke. It's all about mindset, right? Like my mindset, I swear my life, I was like, I'm going to the Lamborghini dealership and I'm going to get pre-approved and I'm going to get a Lambo because I got $1.50 a raise. Swear, that was literally what I thought. It was that's how awesome of a thinker I was back in the day. But yeah, so I did that. So January 2010. So when I was on a mission, the whole like crash, I wasn't here for it.
Yeah.
So I was June of 06 to June of 08. I wasn't really here for like everything, all the construction, collapse and all that stuff. I had no idea. So I came back and there's landscapers and whatever. And that's what I did. And then my uncle's like, hey, we're doing roofing. And my cousin left and said, hey, we need someone to run our production team. Will you come do that? And I'm like, dude, he's like, you need clean driver's license, speak Spanish, and good work ethic. And I'm like, check. He's like, you're hired. I'm like, okay. So 2 weeks of training, literally just riding along with my cousin for 2 weeks. And he's like, okay, go get him. You're now in charge of 3 crews and you're on our production team. And I'm like, okay. So one of my biggest things was like, ask a shitload of questions. Like ask questions over and over and over again. Because I didn't know roofing. Literally 2 weeks. I was like, I know that looks like a concrete roof and that's a flat roof because there's no pitch to it. And that's literally all I knew.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. So I just started asking questions and whatnot. But yeah, did production for 5 years.
Say production, is that the sales just for our listener? Or
No. So production is like the fulfillment.
Okay.
So like dispatching the crews, like, hey, send this Mexican or Guatemalan crew to this house, get this dump trailer to this house, order the materials for the job to the supplier, have the supplier load it up on the roof, talk to the homeowner, make sure that they're happy, where all that stuff. And so the fulfillment side for production.
Cool.
And I did that. I averaged 60 to 100 hours a week because I started in January 2010. In October of 2010, the hailstorm hit. So those remember the hailstorm, like the biggest one in Arizona history. hit in October. So I had like 8 months of roofing experience. So we went from like this big to this big real fast. So, and I wanted to make more money. And my uncle's like, well, you need to learn how to sell. I'm like, okay. So immediately within 8 months, I was doing sales part-time and running a production team. So we're doing 4 or 5 million a year. And I was also sold like 1.5 million of that. Um, and it was like baptism by fire. I just got thrown into there and went to town. So I did production full time for 5 years. My cousin that I was rolling with, he was on the sales side because he didn't speak Spanish. So he did the sales side, I did the production side. We ran side by side for 5 years, and then he left and bought in with his cousin or his brother, my cousin, in Chicago. And so I was like, oh, cool opportunity. So I went into the sales side, hired a production manager, and I did sales for about 3 years. And then from there, I wanted to buy in. I became basically like the GM for like a year, and I wanted to buy in. And my uncle's like, no, pound salt. So I was like, okay, cool. So I left. And so about 9 years in the roofing industry, right? Left and went into outside sales, did 1.2, 1.8 million with all self-lead generated, like all my own leads. Yeah. And I didn't know like how cool that was. I was like, it was just a number or a thing.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, hey, give me 2 more points for for commission.
How are you doing that? Door to door, like
Dude, social media.
social media?
All
Cool.
social media.
Cool.
And relationships. So 9 years of relationship building. Like, what does Jason Payne do? Roofs.
Yeah.
Like, one of my biggest things, I have a buddy who actually has been in the roofing industry for about 10, 12 years. Not about 10 years, but he's worked for 5 different companies. So nobody knows, like, there's just no consistency there. And so I'd rather have one dude that worked at one place for a decade than a dude that's worked at 5 different places, or, for 2 years type deal.
Right.
And so I just, and so between the relationship building there, because they wanted, people want, especially small business, people want to work with people. They don't want to work with the business most of the time. Like, they're not calling the business, they're actually calling the owner, that person.
Yeah.
Right. Now when you get to the big box stores, like you go buy Nikes, right, or Ons or whatever. You're not talking to Jim at Foot Locker, right? You're going to get the Nikes, right? But for small business, you're working with people.
Yeah.
And so I had people, hey, because I did forfeit my cell phone, right, going from $12.50 to $14 an hour. Like, here's company phone. I'm like, okay. And after a while, I got rid of my personal one because I was like, I only need this one. So I had that for a decade, and I had to give it up. And I was like, that was a multi-million-dollar cell phone. Like, that cell phone was worth literally millions. And because I did 1.5 million apart from having a sales team. I did 1.5 million a year for 9 years, apart from doing other stuff. So, anyways, so do 1.8 self gen. I think I did like $500,000 cash on the side too, but don't tell the IRS that. That helped me bootstrap State 48. So, because I worked for my, his name's Russ Hyman, one of my buddies still at Griffin Roofing. And I was there, and when he hired me on to go sell for him for that year, I was like, dude, I want to own my own business one day. How many people say that? Everybody. And most don't do it, right? And I said, I don't know if it's going to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years. I was like, I need somewhere to call shop because I just got a 2-week notice. I just put in my 2-week notice, so I got bills to pay. He's like, come on over. And I was like, pay me 2 more points, and I'll, like, don't give me any leads. My phone rings enough. I don't need it. He's like, okay, deal. And it worked. It was a win-win, right? Because average marketing cost is a minimum 7%, right? And he's like, well, Jason's a 0. So at 7% is like, I'll give you 2, I keep 5. He's like, so I made him money. Yeah. Obviously. So, but yeah, bootstrapped. I bought a house, had a baby, and started a business, and bought a truck within 30 days of each other. In July of 2019, and we launched State 48 August of 2019.
Awesome.
So that was kind of crazy because you know how it is when I was a W-2 for those 13 months or whatever. And I was W-2 before that. So that helped me get into our house. But if you buy a house, then your debt to income ratio gets totally whacked.
Right.
So trying to buy a house and a truck at the same time, buy a truck before a house, then you're toast. You can't get the house. So I played the politics of the big corporate world, and I bought a house and I signed for my truck that same night. So we recorded, but I hadn't hit my credit yet. And I literally picked up my truck that same night.
That's awesome.
So I bought a house and bought a truck. And by the time they find out, they can't do anything, right? So it's already done. So that helped. And my wife had a baby. I don't remember if it was 30 days before or 30 days after that. Yeah. And started a business from 0.
Yeah.
No help.
Sounds like a peaceful time of your life.
Yeah, it was, dude, my whole life has been a freaking, not a roller coaster, but just like, I don't even know, like they used to call me the Tasmanian devil. I know it's not a thing anymore, like Looney Tunes or whatever, but like that's what they call me because I was like that since I was little. I had 3 jobs in high school. Apart from playing sports, played football and baseball. But in the summer, I literally had 3 jobs. I mowed lawns, I was a lifeguard, and I would sell people hay. So on a flatbed trailer or a wheelbarrow or in a little red wagon, I'd go drop off bales of hay to our neighbors that have cows and all that kind of stuff. So
Fit right into Duncan.
yes. Oh yeah. Well, dude, like I said, a small town. I told my wife this. She won't do it, but I said if I can make the money I can make in Phoenix, in Thatcher or Safford, I'd move there tomorrow.
That's awesome.
And I'd retire. Or not retire, but like I'd go there and set up shop. But yeah, for various reasons, it's not doable in my opinion. But, yeah, because I love the small town feel.
Yeah.
Love the I get the cops called on me at least once a week for dirt bikes and riding razors and the grain belts and all that kind of crap. In Power Ranch,
Yeah.
which is like one of those Nazi HOAs on planet Earth, right? So it's just kind of part of the game. But yeah, so started it. Dory, who's now my COO, my wife and I went to dinner with her and her husband. And I said, I want you to be my office manager and you do all the bull crap stuff that I don't want to do. And I'll do the sales and the marketing. And at that time, and the production. She's like, cool, I'll take care of all the back end stuff, appointment setting, invoicing, payroll, audits, insurances, all workers' comp, all that kind of stuff. So, okay. And we did $1 million in 5 months from zero. So August to January 1st, right before COVID hit. We did $1 million. And then, from $1 million to 3.6, then we did 7 point something, and then we did 10 point something, and we did 12 point something, and last year we did 12.7. So
awesome. How big is your team now?
I'm looking at Jess, my assistant. I don't know. Probably with our crews, we're pushing, I think we're probably in the 65-ish range, but we've flexed between 65 and 80.
Yeah.
Just depending on crews and demand. Roofing has sucked in Arizona the last year in Phoenix because it just hasn't rained legitimately for about a year. So that's been tough, but you just got to pivot and adapt. But yeah, we have 11 crews, 5 sales reps, an entire admin team.
Awesome.
So very blessed.
Well, the everyday leader, we love talking about leadership, and it's kind of a diluted word in today's world. I feel like everybody throws it out there. So I guess what does leadership mean to you? And what have you learned about leadership, owning a business and building a business?
So as we're driving over here, we were actually late because I was having a very in-depth meeting with my superintendents of each crew. And they set the meeting with me, we want to talk to you. I'm like, oh gosh, it's like a union, right? We want this. And I'm like, oh gosh, actually it was a great meeting. But it was talking about and to answer your question with leadership, it's you have to set the standard and then you have to hold people accountable, but you have to be the standard and you have to hold yourself accountable. Because a lot of times we're like, here's the standard, but I don't have to follow that. And it's and here's what I want to do, but I'm not going to do that. And your team needs to see you putting in the work, putting in the hours, putting in the effort, and not only setting the standard, but then also maintaining it. Because I feel like a lot of times we set the standard and then we have that honeymoon phase and then we let stuff kind of fall through the cracks and let the mediocrity kick in and the average, that kind of stuff, right? And so being a leader is so much more of setting the example, but also being the example consistently. Right? Because we can all talk, we can hop on a podcast or we can record a video, or we can have this hoorah, Tony Robbins, Andy Elliott, right? We're going to sing on Saturday, rah, chant, bullcrap stuff. And then that sizzle goes away.
Right.
It just does. But then it's but do you still show up consistent? Like going to the gym, right? Oh man, I'm doing 75 hard. Cool. And day 76, you give up everything. You slept in, you didn't work out again, you ate garbage, and then you're back to your old ways. It's why'd you even do it? Mm-hmm. So you could say you did it, so you can, tag Andy Frisella, who cares? But being consistent, setting whatever standard that is for you, and then bettering your team and caring about your team and carrying your team along the way is huge. I just set up our PPS with all my marketing team and my entire sales team over the next 2 weeks. What are your goals as a woman, as a man, as a spouse, as a parent? Not just hey, work harder and make me more money. right? It's like, that's only a third of your, I mean, it's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
But most people are married and, or like our age, married and, or have kids. Like, are you being a good spouse? If you're not, like, we got to fix that. Because if your spouse hates your job and that means you're going to resent coming to work, you're like, that's not good for me. Right. But I want you and your wife to be, you know, killing it. And I want you and your kids to be killing it, because one day, like, the job is not going to be there and they are hopefully still there. So you got to make sure that you don't lose track of that.
Yeah.
So, and this guy named God too, you probably should be trying to stay on good terms with him too. So
That's good advice.
yeah.
I feel like in a lot of business, that's not the norm. Like, it's not the
No.
norm to talk about those kind of things. It's not the norm to,
Well, it's like an HR nightmare if you want to get technical.
Yeah.
Like, you could really get in deep shit if you do it the wrong way, dare I say, right?
Yeah.
But that's been one of my biggest things. And that's why I love, like, the coaching program that I have. Like, we do $100 dinners where you bring spouses and we get together and we talk about, like, we'll literally have full on 2-hour meetings, nothing about business, but like, you owning your shit. Like,
Yeah.
you're fat and out of shape. Like, that's a problem, because that means that your kids are now allowed to be fat and out of shape. You're broke, which means that you're telling your kids it's okay to be broke.
Yeah.
And you should go down the line, right? And so I think it's so much more than business, because it's, I feel like business is probably the easier part out of all those things. Like, trying to be a good spouse, not just like on the anniversaries and on the birthdays and the Christmas and the Valentines, but like 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And not to get some, right? Like, to truly, truly make your partner a priority. Like, it takes effort. It does. Right. And but it's totally worth it. Same with your kids. Like, I mean, you just see it every day now more than ever. Like, go coach 8, 10, 12-year-old kids team. And I can tell you 99% of the time how active their mom or dad is in their life. You can just tell. Right. And like, yes, no, yes, totally engaged, 0% engaged. Grandparents are raising them, whatever. Right. Because, like, Sean Whalen, one of my mentors, taught me, don't let another man raise your kids. Right. And so, like, so all that stuff has to come. Leadership, that leadership is, I mean, it's absolutely huge. It's not just leadership in business. It's like, you're the leader of your family. Like, you're the leader of your kids. Like, and you co-lead, right, with your spouse and all that kind of stuff. But, like, at the end of the day, like, it's up to you, bro. Right. And nobody else is gonna do it for you. So
how much of that do you feel has come naturally to you? And how much of that has been like, okay, this has been something I've had to learn that hasn't come easy and it's been a struggle?
So on the drive over, we were talking about how my kid is, I told Jess, I got a text from my wife that said, what's it called? Junior. Oh yeah. So back in the day, like high school, like, oh, the NJHS or JHS. I had no idea what that was. So apparently there's a thing called an acronym. Found out that was when I was like 30 years old, what that word meant. So an acronym, and like, oh, I'm part of the NHS. And I'm like, National Hillbilly Society. Like, I have no idea what this crap is. Like, National Honor Society. I'm like, I was like, the dude with the glasses, like, doing that, like, that's for those guys. Well, my kid literally just is going to be inducted into the NJHS. And I'm like, no way. And I was just like, oh yeah, like, dude, like, your kid's smart. And I'm like, did not get it from me. To answer your question, my wife, ASU grad, like, dude, she's book smart, like, she's a gangster. Yeah, like, you ever want to pass a test, like, hit up my wife and just throw her some Benjamins and she'll pass you a test all day long. I'm the street smart guy. I'm the guy that's like, let's go get in the Gilbert like irrigation ditch and like, let's solve a problem. Like, that's how I grew up. I grew up of more like failing or asking questions and then failing, or asking questions in order to not fail. But like, opening up a textbook was not my jam. Right. And so that's been, so there's certain things that have really, really helped me. But to answer your question, I feel like 95% of what I've learned because I've had to read it in a book or listen to it on a podcast, especially when it comes to leadership. Like, you're a born leader. No, you're not. 100% bullcrap. We both come out of a woman and we know jack crap and we're babies. Like, all this stuff is like, we are not given any of that. Like, the only thing we're guaranteed is like a breath of air, and like, that's it. That's literally it. That's the only thing we come out, like, the similarities, the common denominator is literally that. We are both, like, that's all it is. And so everything else, comes to now, some people develop it really early,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Now, what I will tell you is something that did help me, because I said 95. The 5% though is the most, in my opinion, is what actually like catapulted me. So like, I believe in school, and those are watching this, if you have high school kids or whatever watching this, like, be the most social butterfly on planet Earth. Be friends with everybody, because guess what? Come full circle, I'm doing roofs right and left for all my friends
Mm.
from Gilbert High that I went to school with, or their parents' houses that they know me, and I was chilling at their house, and they're like, hey, this house is 20, we have our 20-year reunion this year.
Mm.
And they literally asked me to be the MC. And I'm like, why? And they're like, dude, like, you're all over social media, and like, you're friends with everybody, you talk to everybody, and you talk. And I'm like, well, I did that in high school. I was friends with everybody, right? And that friendship and those relationships that I created 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road have literally paid off tenfold. Church, community, like Josh's thing.
Mhm.
Like Josh and I are buddies. Josh, when he started his thing and his event, I hadn't physically seen him in probably a decade. But we were buddies, and we were buddies at church, and we were buddies from basketball, and I knew his family 20 years ago, 30 years ago, to where now it's like paying off, to where he's actually put me in a lot of big rooms and big circles
Mhm.
that I maybe hadn't been able to get in or wanted to get in. And he was just like, oh, here's the key to the door.
Hmm.
And I'm like, awesome. Right.
Yeah.
But that literally started in high school, even junior high. And so that's why I believe it's more like the leadership part is, it is a skill. It is a skill that is practiced. It is a muscle. You see these guys that are ripped. They go to the gym, they work out, they go to the gym, they work out every single day, multiple times a day. Like leadership is the exact same thing. Great
Leadership's a
leaders.
muscle like that.
Yes, great leadership is a muscle, plain and simple. And if you exercise it and you exercise it correctly, then it will pay off 100%.
So tell me some of where were some of the places you went to learn? As you said, podcast, books, like what were
So
the stuff that was instrumental in helping you feel like to develop?
So I will be forever in debt to a guy named Grant Cardone.
Hmm.
Right? You guys know Grant. So his book called The 10X Rule, my business partner, Nick,
Mhm.
he was doing real estate and had these big, huge chairs like this, but big old leather couches in a real estate office. And I was the roofer guy working for my uncle. And we cater to realtors. And I said, hey, like, hey, you got any roofs like in escrow or need, inspections, this and that. And I sat down. I'm like, dude, I was like, you have this big, huge office. You have all these chairs. You have all, I was like, in a huge book collection. And I was like, dude, I was like, give me something. Like, give me something to read, something to listen to. He's like, hey, grab that book. It was a 10X rule. And I read that book, and that book changed my life forever. But in that book, and that was when I was 29 years old. So apart from the scriptures, I'd never read anything from high school. Don't forget, I hated college, sucked at college. So like, no bueno, right? Literally since my mission, since high school, I'd never read a book other than scriptures, like nothing, right? Podcast, not my thing, right? And so, but I was very good at asking questions in the field. So that's why I learned roofing really well and really fast, is because I had nothing else to do. And so I just worked really hard and asked a lot of questions. But that book said the average millionaire reads a book a week and goes to 6 conferences a year.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, at this point, I was like, I'm making 80, maybe 100 grand at most, 80, 100 grand. And I'm like, well, that's not a millionaire and not even close. And netting, not grossing, netting. And I said, okay, well, I'm not going to any conferences and I don't read any books. Oh, that's why I'm making what I am. It was just like an aha moment, driving down like the I-10, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. So go to 6 conferences a year, every other month, go to one and read a book a week. Okay, cool. So I remember in a true story, I asked my uncle, I literally punched my left hand, punched the radio in my uncle's truck, because all I was doing is listening to 102.5, 104.7 Kiss FM and John Jay and Rich and the 102.5 KNIX guys and the Camel and all that. Like, I knew every country song, I knew all the rap songs, like, and I was so mad because I was like, oh my gosh. And this is before I think you could like plug your like hardwire stuff to listen to podcasts. Like Bluetooth wasn't a thing
Yeah,
yet, right?
right.
And at least in vehicles. And I literally punched the radio and I broke it. And I had to get the wired headphones to plug into my phone to listen to iPads. I don't think were created yet. And I had to plug it in to my phone to listen to podcasts. And I'm like, okay. And so I started listening and books.
Mhm.
Found Audible. right? And so I just listen to books over and over and over and over again. So I take a phone call, roofing phone call, sales phone call, click, and press play. And all of Grant's books, all 7 of his books, over and over and over and over again. I listen to those things on on repeat,
Yeah.
nonstop. And so that was probably one of the biggest things was you need to learn, humble yourself and know what you don't know. And then go to that next step of like, go find the people that are doing more than you or where you want to go. And it's not an envy thing. It's not like I'm envious of
Yeah.
of his jets and his helicopters and mansions. Like, I don't care, whatever. Some people like that stuff, like not my jam. But like but what he taught me was like, if you want to get there, like you need to educate yourself. That's why personal development is so huge. You need to get a mentor. You need to get a coach. I think everybody should have one of those. I go to therapy once a week, every single week. Love it. Best favorite hour of my week. Like it just because there's personal development every single week, and then accountability that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
It just keeps coming back. So
Yeah. No, one thing I love from Grant's book is that idea that like it's almost he try to remember how he says it, but it'd be immoral not to be the best version of yourself, like not to
yeah,
10x yourself, not to 10x your life. Like
yeah. So like my thing that I say is become the best version of yourself and reach your true potential. Those are my 2 things. Like if you could do any 2 things, do those 2 things. And that's what I love what Grant talks about with his wife. He's like, hey, I'll marry you, right? Because he chased her for like 2 years. And he finally married her, and he said, I have one deal. He's like, I'll marry you and I'll give you everything. I'll go all out. He said, but he's like, do not make me give up on chasing my dreams.
mm-hmm.
As long as you don't do that, I'm in.
Yeah.
And obviously see what they've done. So
That's awesome. Yeah. One thing, speaking about, I feel like a lot of people aren't willing to share that they go weekly to therapy. Like,
oh,
and I love that you shared that at your event, that's something you and your wife do. And
dude. Well, that's the thing.
yeah,
Go talk about programming.
that.
Before we press record, we were talking about programming and all this kind of crap, right? And it's like, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. But in the 90s, like if
Yeah.
you say to them, I'm going to therapy, like your parents got divorced, you're like, freak.
Yeah.
It's like Wicked. You guys seen Wicked, right? It's like, go away, witch. Like you freak. It's like, what are you talking about? Like therapy, like you were like something's wrong with you, right? And or like my parents are divorced or they're struggling, they're fighting or whatever. Like, and in my opinion, at least in the Valley, that was a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were looked front, you were judged, you were like made fun of. And now it's funny how it's like almost a 180 now. It's like that. I would require that if like I can't. I had paid for. I'm not gonna say dollar amount because I know what it is, but I had paid a couple of dollars for employees to go, team members to go, current, past. I paid for some of my coaching guys to go to therapy, and because I know the value of it, right? And even if you're like on cloud 9, you're kicking butt like with yourself and with your kids and with your spouse. A lot of us have just a lot of built up BS from I call it programming, right? From childhood that we were trained wrong.
Yeah.
We were programmed to think in the LDS world. It drives me nuts. The way we think about money, right? Like debt is bad. I'm like, okay, perspective, right? There's a lot of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like Dave Ramsey, dude, my dad, like if he could rename me, he would call me Dave. Like middle name not Gordon, right? Dave Ramsey Payne. Like that would literally be my name. That was my dad's thing, right? Like no debt on vehicles, no this, no that. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know any better. So growing up, debt's bad.
Yeah.
And this, and those type of things. And so I think we need to like therapy gives you like a whole nother view, a point of view that from somebody that doesn't really have, there's nothing in the game for them, right? There's no skin in the game, but it helps you truly see like what else is there, right? And that's why I love mentoring because they were programmed differently and raised differently to where, hey, let's go do this and go do that.
Yeah.
And like versions of wealth, right? Like I thought my dad had 3 flatbed trailers growing up. He had an 8-footer, a 12-footer, and a 16-footer. And I thought my dad kicked butt and made a lot of money. And so when I grew up, I was like, okay, if I have a lot of trailers, I will be a wealthy person. Flatbed trailers, like, and then some of these trailers, and he still has these trailers, by the way, 20 years later. So these trailers are like $500 to $2,000 maybe for all three of them, right?
Mhm.
Even brand new, right? Like $3,000, $5,000. And I literally thought that. My buddy Tanner Broadbent, if you know the Broadbents that have been here forever, their dad drove a purple Escalade, a new one in 2002, 3, 4, 5. And no, it was in the 90s because I was still in grade school going to junior high. Because in high school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a dentist. And they're like, why? I was like, well, because my neighbor, the Broadbents, he's a dentist, has this huge house, has this awesome brand new Escalade SUV. And the vanity part of me was like, whatever he's doing, I want to be. And I literally asked him, I say, hey, what's your dad? He was like, oh, he's a dentist. So all through high school, I want to be a dentist. 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 Till my senior year of high school, didn't talk to the counselor or whatever, like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I have no idea. I said, oh, I want to be a dentist. And they're like, okay, cool. So you have to go to 4 years of school. And don't forget, I was like a 2.0 on a good day, right? 2.0 just to be able to play sports. I was like, yeah, the 4 years of school, 4 years of dental school, and then 2 to 4 years of, of specialty stuff. And I'm like, 10, 12 years. I'm like, yeah, no, no. I was like, I barely got through 4 years of school, let alone 8 to 12 years after this. No way. But the programming, right? I was like, oh, well, and I was identifying people or things and wealth and that's how I was raised. And
Yeah.
I was the programming part of it. So I think therapy and really just educating yourself
Mhm. really
really helps you make decisions for you, like for you and for your family.
Yeah. Well, and what I love about you sharing some of that, Jason, is we believe a leader helps others see things they couldn't see without somebody else showing them. Like that's what a leader does. Like a leader points those things out. And it seems like the world's died for people to be authentic, people to be real, people to tell the truth. And that's what I've loved that I've seen you do is that you're willing to share those things. And when someone does that, it can open their mind to, oh, hey, maybe therapy could help me, or hey,
Well,
maybe going to a conference and spending a couple $100 could do something good for me.
yeah, and like I think when it comes down to leadership, like you have the ultimate leader who is Jesus Christ, right? Like the leadership of like what he like the giver that he was for his apostles,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that giver's mentality and helping other people out at setting the standard, right? And then also holding people accountable, right? If you go through any scripture, I don't care what religion you are, go through any scripture, it's like, hey, don't do this. Here's my standard. You jeopardize that, go wash yourself, go touch
Right.
this, go whatever, right? And all the analogies with it, but like when it comes down to like that leadership piece, like what are you doing? The word relatability is huge. Like you said, you mentioned authentic and genuine, but like the reason why I love what I do, especially in my coaching program, is I'm relatable, right? Like I can tell you like, oh, me and my wife never fight. And I'm like, dude, get the crap out of here. Right. And we have friends that like, that talk about this. Like I've never raised my voice to my spouse. And I'm like, you're either 100% full shit, like maybe 200%, or like we need to define what yelling at your wife looks like, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like we just be who you are. Like I'm not here to flex. I'm not here like you think Jason Payne's a piece of crap. Cool. You think he's an egotistical asshole. Also cool. You think he's the best thing in sliced bread. Awesome. I don't care. Right? I just don't care. Right? When it comes to finances, when it comes to the church, when it comes to owning a business, when it comes to coaching, right? And all the haters and all the crap talkers and all that stuff, like you'll get it all, by the way. Is when you're making moves, like the haters come out strong and hard. Daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, lawsuits, like you name it, all the things. But I'm not going to change who I am because somebody said something about me a certain way on social media. Like I don't care. I really don't care. I care really realistically about 3 people: what God thinks about me, what my spouse thinks about me, and what I think about myself. Other than that, I really don't care. Maybe my kids. But like other than that, it's like I really don't care because those guys, like I don't report to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when you truly do that, there's a lot of freedom. It feels very like a weight lifted when you can just like be yourself
Mm-hmm.
and like you don't have to follow the agenda.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, are you Mormon? I'm like, yeah, but sometimes I'm not the best Mormon. And sometimes I make mistakes. And sometimes I do dumb stuff. But it's like are you going to judge me either way? Like, I don't care. Judge me or don't judge me. Well, I don't want to associate myself with Jason Payne. Okay. I didn't ask you to. Like, peace out. And but we're so scared of being judged. That's why I feel like if you get anything from this, like, leadership is like, you don't care about being judged as long as you stick to who you are.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't walk in here like, okay, so Drew's here and this is the room, and like this, make sure I don't cuss, or make sure I don't say this or say that, or do this or do that. Like, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, don't invite me on your podcast. If you don't like it, don't talk to my wife and my kids. If you do, like, let's roll. Right. And so there's something that hit me probably about 2 years ago, of people that are just like unapologetically, like, raw, real, authentic who they are. Sean Whalen's one of them. Like, some people hate him, some people love him. Andy Elliott, Andy Frisella, right? Some people love him. Dude, freaking Donald Trump. Like, dude, some people love him, some people hate him. And you hear it all the time, like, dude, Jesus Christ had haters. Like, himself, like, our Savior, literally had haters that, like, he didn't do anything wrong. And I do stuff wrong every single day. Like, isn't it wild?
Yeah.
So, like, give yourself some grace that you're not perfect, but like, and if you don't have any haters, you're probably not trying to go all out.
Do you always feel that way? Or you kind of mentioned something a couple of years ago, but is that something you kind of have?
Dude, so I'm still a very vain person. You see my big old truck, lifted tires. Like, I got little man syndrome. Totally cool with it. Doesn't hurt my feelings. 5'9.5" with shoes on. But like, dude, just like I was extremely about like social status, what people thought about me, right? Like, you shouldn't do this, and you should do that, and we shouldn't do, and we should do, and like a list. And I'm like, okay, like, says who? You shouldn't. You go to church and you say the F word? Yes, I do. Not from the pulpit. If you asked me not to say that, okay, cool, no problem. But like, I was like, remember, like, can't have a beard and be in the bishopric. I'm like, okay, then put me in the young men's. I don't know, like, but then, like, I'm not gonna shave because I like my beard, like, and that's okay. And if there's consequences from it, then so be it. But like, but for the longest time, I like keeping up with the Joneses, dude. It's a real thing, and it's exhausting. So I went to the Princess this past weekend, the Scottsdale Princess. Have you been there? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. You should go there. But I went there for Easter brunch. Spent the night Saturday night, Sunday morning, had brunch there, then went to church. And there you go there, and like keeping up with the Joneses, like everybody, and like all the matching outfits for Easter, and all the Easter colors, and their bougie $5,000 outfits. And I'm like, I showed up like this, and I was like, dude, at least wear a button up. I'm like, fine. So, but I'm like, I'm like, but all they're trying to do is like prove something to someone that doesn't get two shits about them. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I just stop caring. And it's really helped me because, like I said, that relatability, like being raw, being real, authentic, genuine, like talking about therapy. It's like, how many men have come and cried on my shoulder, or sent me DMs or text messages saying, you saved my marriage, or you saved me, or like I've lost 40, 50, 60 pounds because I was told that I didn't have business ownership qualities. I was told that who's Jason Payne? Who does he think he is that he can be a coach? Everybody's trying to be a coach, and here comes Jason Payne, this coach. I'm like, so don't coach with me. But what I do know is I have changed families and even generations already. And that's just because I just tell them, like, hey, do these things to change your marriage, change your life, change your relationship with the kids, and to actually be happy. And it's working. And so, but I'm not for everybody. That's okay.
Yeah.
So,
no, I love that. One of the things we like to talk a lot about is that the title doesn't make you a leader. That leadership's a choice. Like, so I guess, what would you say to someone who wants to develop as a leader, whether or not they're in a leadership role? Like, how do you do that? Like, yeah.
So the phrase is like, the best leaders are followers. I completely agree. Because there's somebody that's like, I want to be a leader. Like, it's the last person that you want to be a leader. If they go out saying that, I want to be a leader, I want to be a manager, I want to be a sales manager. I'm like, but you don't sell. And if you do sell, you only sell for yourself. You don't help other sales guys. I was like, I see you coming in late and leaving early. So you want the title,
right?
Or you want the commission that comes with it, or you want the status that comes with it. Like, I don't care. Like, I used to have I don't have any more. Maybe I do, Jess. Hopefully I don't. This would be very hypocritical if I say this. I don't have owner on my business card, do I? Yeah. I had it on there. Owner. Who cares?
Yeah.
But when I go get up on a roof, I'm a sales rep. Am I the owner of the company too? Yeah, I wear multiple
Right.
hats. But if I get up on a roof or I go to an interview or go to a meeting or whatever, it's like, I'm Jason Payne, right? Because one day I'm going to sell it and I'm not going to be the owner.
Yeah.
So the label's going to be taken away from me. And we have like identity crisis. That's literally what it is. And some people like, they want the social flex. It's like, I own my business. It's like, if you're truly a business owner, that's the last flex because it is the most exhausting, like
anyone to know.
humiliating thing. It's like, I'm a business owner and I have $7 in my bank account today. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's a real thing. Like, or like, did you get sued today? It's like, oh, because you're not a business owner. Like, yeah, wear that hat. It looks cool, like on the gram, but like being a business owner is freaking psycho and it's a nightmare a lot of times. And hopefully, if you push hard enough, there's that exit, there's that carrot at the end,
Yeah.
or it makes it worth it, right? But yeah, that title of a leader is it is earned, it is not given. And I made the mistake multiple times with a sales manager and a marketing manager of gifting or giving them that role to take stuff off my plate and to free up my time. And I'm 0 for 2. I'm actually 0 for 3 on gifting that role. I've also had 2 people that still currently work for me that have earned that. And those 2 ladies would die for me. They would, if I give them the story like Spartan, like 300 the movie, right? Like 300 Spartans going to war, like they'd be like, dude, give me a sword, give me a shield. Jason, let's roll. Because they earned that role in that leadership role. They didn't ask for it. They didn't come in and say, or handouts. They didn't even ask for it most of the time. I promoted them naturally. There's like, this is this. I'm like, hey, I need you in this role. They're like, okay, let's go. So having that servant mentality will get you there if that's where you want to go. But the goal shouldn't be to get there because once they get there, they stop.
Right.
That's the problem. But if you get there and you just naturally hit it, that's the one that you want to hire.
Yeah. 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 So maybe it's not about getting the title. It's about who you are, what you're becoming.
Like, what's your end goal?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, do you have a servant mentality? Cool. Then I want someone that serves in that role. Right? I don't want to take her. I want to give her. I want someone that's going to like give more than they should and go harder than others and help others along the way. Like, that's what I want in that role. 99% of them don't say, I want a leadership role, right? Or hey, do you need a sales manager? Or hey, do you need a production manager? And I'm like, instead of like, hey, can I come work for you for free? Can I come show you who I am? Can I come show you the value that I bring to your company? And then whatever role that fits, I'd love to take that role and help you out. Imagine getting that. What if you got a resume that said that? Resume, absolutely nothing. I'll do whatever you
I'll
want.
come learn.
Pay me whatever you want. I just want to come work for you. Like if you get one of those resumes, you'll never get one of those. But if you did, like that
person,
that's the kind of person that you want in as a leader.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. Well, as we start wrapping up, Jason, how would you want to be remembered by others as a leader?
So Dory, our COO, has actually mentioned this before, and she says, "I want to kill him, but he's also pushed me harder and made me grow more than any person she's ever met." And that's kind of how that's what I want people like, and I'm okay with like, he was a dick, he was mean, he was rude, he pushed me hard, but like that rubber band, right? Like I will push people to where they're on the brink of breaking, but then at the end, they come and give me a hug and say thank you. Because my goal is to squeeze as much juice out of you because, as I mentioned before, nobody does that. Like what business owner would say, hey, I really think you and your spouse need to go to therapy and I'm going to pay for a few sessions because I want you to have a better relationship with your spouse. It's not, no, stay here, stay longer, screw your family. We have goals to meet. We got to hit quota, whatever. That's what we hear.
Yeah.
Not like on the flip side. So like to be remembered, I want to be like, he helped me become a better father, especially for men. Help me become a better father. Help me become a better husband. Help me become a better business owner or a team member in the business. That's how I want to be remembered.
It's awesome. Why is that so important to you?
Because when God calls you to do something, you don't say no. And when you have had not visions, not getting weird like Joseph Smith type stuff, right? Not like there were no I saw pillar of light stuff going on. But like when you truly like when your gut tells you over and over and over again, like this coaching, like I could take that energy from my coaching stuff. The coaching stuff doesn't make me money. In hindsight, of what I charge per hour for roofing and how much money I can make for roofing versus coaching, I actually probably lose money if you were to actually do the math. But the point of it being like the whole goal, and Nick Tripoli mentions this, my business partner, but it really hits home to me. He's like, my goal is to make an impact while here on earth, as big of an impact as possible. And if I can do that helping people with roofs, so be it. If I can help that with men becoming better dads or parents or spouses or whatever,
Yeah.
and then so be it. But I want to make an impact on people's lives because people have, I think Josh Tilley's dad, Clark, huge impact on me in high school. I kind of went sideways for a minute before my mission, and he was the one that literally picked me up and said, "Hey, I got you. Let's go," and helped me get me on my mission. And so I think Lane Peterson, kind of ironically, that was that's used to be in the space here. Those guys that helped me when I was a teenager, when I was recently married, that went out of their way to help make an impact in my life. My goal is to make an impact on other people's lives. And that's why, because when God tells you like to do something, trust your gut and go do it. And he's like, hey, roofing is just the platform. This is actually your true calling. And now more than ever, ironically, on this podcast, people need leadership. They're begging for leadership. They're begging for leadership in religion, for men, right? Like now more than ever, like what is a man is the most like diluted word and name and definition on planet Earth now than ever. And it shouldn't be. It should be very crystal clear. It's black and white. There's no gray.
Yeah.
There's never been a gray area of what a man is or who a man is, right? Of what that means. That doesn't mean you have to be an alpha and be a right monkey and scream. But that means that like you need to own who you are and know what your role is as a spouse and as a parent and as a human.
Yeah.
And then go and execute. Yeah. And it's diluted. So I'm trying to make an impact and bring that back.
Yeah. Love that. Well, for any of our listeners who want to follow you or get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Jason the Roofer on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. I check all my stuff. But yeah, Jason Roofer on Instagram. And I have a book called 8 Phases to 8 Figures. I think I sent you guys a link. It's on Amazon. It's like $10.
Sweet. We'll put it in the show notes.
If you're a business owner, and it shows you how I built a 8-figure business in 40 months.
Awesome.
Yeah, a little under 4 years. I have a podcast, Sexy Business Status Podcast. So we talk about not just business, but everything underneath there, right? Being a spouse, parent, all those things. And then, but just if you have any questions, you need a shoulder to cry on, or you want to go to an event. Like I promote events like crazy, right? Garrett White's throwing one, Andy Elliott's throwing one right now. I stand behind a lot of those guys and what they're doing because a lot of those guys, those nuggets from those events, right? 6 conferences a year, have helped me become the man who I am. So I will always be in debt to those guys helping me accomplish my goals and dreams.
Awesome. A lot of good nuggets, Jason. Yeah, leadership's a muscle.
That's be the title. Because you sent like a question, like,
we'll put that.
What should the name of the podcast be? Leadership is a muscle. There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna create a shirt. I'm bringing a shirt.
No,
leadership is a muscle.
I love that. No, a lot of good things. A lot of good nuggets. Go to 6 conferences a year. Read a book a week. Good stuff, and you can see why Jason's been so successful. So, thank you for listening to the Everyday Leader podcast. Today's the day.
Thanks for joining us on the Everyday Leader podcast. If you're ready to take your leadership journey even further, subscribe to our weekly newsletter for more insights and practical tips. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram to stay a part of our growing community. Just follow the links in the show notes. If this episode impacted you, please help us spread the word and share the link with a friend from wherever you're listening.